run into the Dollar Tree just to see what they got here, and what we can't find, then we'll go over to the Dollarama. Let's go. Hey guys, it's voiceover me. So today we are going to be doing some Pinterest inspired DIYs, and this first one is going to be a fall wreath. Okay, so these are the flowers that I ended up getting at the Dollar Tree. Found this grass at the Dollarama. And this at a different dollar store. And then just all you need is some hot glue, wire cutters, depending on how rough those are, how sturdy, how easy it is to get them apart. And yeah, don't use scissors. These have some pretty sturdy wire in them, and you could actually just pop them off. You don't even need wire cutters for this. It just made this DIY so much easier, faster, and more enjoyable. So even with all these beautiful faux flowers that were feeling very fall-y vibe, I needed a little something more homey, more my fall vibe. So I went out and I picked up some pine cones. There are a lot of pine cones around my place, a lot of pine trees, so this was perfect. Now, there is no recipe, guidelines, or code book for this next part. Just have fun, get creative, get a little bit messy. Watch out for that hot glue, it is very hot. I actually ended up dropping some on my knuckle and it ended up blistering and it is very painful. So, watch out for the hot glue. But, have fun! So, the way that I styled mine was I only filled up about a third of the wreath, of the brass ring, and I placed a pine cone in the middle, and then I made clusters of flowers on each side of that, and then I did another pine cone on each side of that, and then an ending with a couple flowers and sprigs of leaves, and that made up my third of the wreath. And then to finish it all off, what I did was taking a piece of twine, cut it to just eyeball what I thought was a good length. I'm just gonna make a quick slip knot here, pull through the middle, and then pull tight. And then I also just made a knot on the top with both strings in one knot, if that makes sense. So not like a square knot, but just a knot. And then I pulled that really tight, and then I cut off the ends of that. And then made sure that it was snug. And then I hung it up on my door, and I absolutely love the way that it turned out. I am so proud of this. It's gorgeous. I love it. Yeah. So I went over to Home Depot, got some wood stain in espresso, and then at the Dollarama I got this wooden panel. I got 2 of these. We'll need one for the next project as well. Now to stain it, what I used was an old cut up rag, which is just a cut up t-shirt kind of thing, and then I stained all of the edges and a little bit on the inside of the board. One of the things that I did notice when I was doing this was there's a lot of glue that you can't see until you put the stain on. It's not super visible all the time or anything like that, and definitely doesn't really matter for this project, but that's just a heads up. I would have gone in maybe with an X-Acto knife or a paint scraper and got really in there and got all the glue out, because I am a perfectionist that way. But just keep that in mind. So then what I did was I painted the inside of it, tried to cut in as close as I could without going up on the sides, but didn't always work out the way I wanted to. So what I did when I got paint on the sides was I just took my cloth and rubbed and got all the paint off of the sides while it was still a little bit wet. Then now for the fun part, or what I think is a little bit fun, I like designing. I went onto Pages, you can go onto Word, and I wrote out what I wanted to paint onto my sign, printed it off, and then I am cutting it out to figure out where I want the placing to be. I fiddled with this a little bit till I found what I wanted it to look like, and then I'm gonna show you a little bit of a magic trick. Not really a magic trick, but I think it's pretty cool. Okay, here we go. Yep, we are flipping it over and tracing or just scribbling some graphite onto the back of it, placing them back where I originally wanted them, and then you're gonna just trace over it with pen. And what is happening is the graphite is then being transferred down onto the surface, and just where you mark with your pen, so note that. And then we are gonna paint and fill that in. So you don't want it to be too dark because you don't want to accidentally see it or anything like that. If it's too dark, just maybe erase a little bit of it. And then we are going to paint it. This was a little bit time consuming, so just note that. If you had stencils, it might be a lot easier that way. Once it was all written out, I went in with some white paint just to fix up some of the little errors and things that I didn't like about it. And then once I went in with the white paint, I grabbed a darning needle and used that to fix up the rest of the letters. I found the darning needle was just a little bit more precise, I guess. And this is how it turned out. I absolutely love it. It looks great. I'm definitely going to try this again with some other quotes and stuff. Maybe some stuff for the kitchen. Look out for that. Okay, so our next one, Twinkle Light Branch Art. I had no idea what to call this. I'm sorry. Maybe you can let me know what you would call it down in the description below. And basically all I did was I went out, there's a trail close to my house, and I tried finding as many sticks as I could, and then I went down to the river. Unfortunately, I could not find any nice river logs, kind of driftwoody was what I was kind of hoping for, or just some other ones like the one on top of this, but definitely not gonna grab it. Guys, he was huge, but super cool and interesting to see. So I grabbed my sticks and went back to my house. I stained, this time, the entire thing. You can kind of see those glue lines that I was talking about earlier. And then I just fiddled around with this a lot. And by fiddled around with it a lot, I mean like probably a couple hours trying to figure out how the heck I was gonna place everything. Honestly, just the best thing that I did at the end of it was randomly shove things and glue things, and that was how I did it. I kind of didn't want to have my perfectionism coming through again. Guys, if you struggle with perfectionism, can you please let me know down in the comments, because I know I'm not the only one. So once I found how I wanted these to kind of be placed and laid down in there, I just glued them in with hot glue. You kind of have to hold it down for a while till the hot glue dries enough or cools down enough. Sometimes I would think it's done, but it was pretty warm outside, and you know, it just didn't cool down enough and it would pop back up, and I had to re-glue a lot of them. Then once you get enough of those glued in there, we're gonna string in some fairy lights, and I should have drilled a hole in it to feed it through so that the wire wasn't going around the frame, but I don't have a drill and didn't really have anything to do that with. But if you do, probably do that first because it makes things a little bit neater. Then I just kind of weaved it in throughout wherever I felt would look fine. Trying it out, looks good. I know you can't really see much, it's pretty dark, but it actually looks pretty awesome. I like it. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. Please comment, like, subscribe. It really helps me out, and honestly, like, let me know what you want to see being made, because you're my audience and I want to make what you want to see. Thanks guys. Bye.